Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Before we begin, there's been a request for the recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha for Sister Ihsana Hasnain. Please recite Surah Al-Fatiha.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله قاصم الجبارين مبين الظالمين مدرك الهاربين، والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي اسمه في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. وأبي الجوهرة القدسية البتول الأزراء الممتحنة الصابرة المظلومة المخدومة فاطمة بنت محمد صلوات الله وبعلوها أمير المؤمنين وقائد الغر المحجلين وبنيها الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. رحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقتليهم وغاصب حقوقهم ومنكري فضائلهم ملعونين. أما بعد. For the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Marziyah, for the enlightenment of the graves of your marhumin and of the graves of the shuhada and siddiqeen, for the safety and quick reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam arwahun al-fida, and for the safety of anyone around the world that says Ya Zahra, please recite a loudest salawat. Praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is Rahman, the one who is Rahim, the one that has given us this opportunity to once again sit in the remembrance of Sayyidah Fatima sallallahu alayha. We, over the past few nights, have been discussing the khutbah of Sayyidah Fatima in the court of Abu Bakr, known commonly as Khutbah al-Fadakiyya, where Bibi Fatima is made to present a case for her right to claim the land of Fadak. And we've analyzed that over the last couple of nights. In the first night, as to why Bibi Fatima why this land already belonged to her, we assessed that, and how the claim of Abu Bakr itself was invalid from a number of points in Islamic jurisprudence. The khutbah itself, we've been focusing on the philosophy of the ibadat, and by no means have we exhausted the topic. We've only studied maybe 2 of them very lightly over the top. There are somewhere in the region of 20 that Bibi speaks about in that khutbah, the different philosophy of the ibadat that we have. And I would urge everyone to go and read this khutbah and go and ponder over it as to what Sayyidah Fatima is saying within this. You know, what message can we take from it into our own lives? Because this is our last night, and inshallah from tomorrow there will be someone else that will be speaking. So it's only right that I ask on this night, if I've said anything that's offended anyone or has hurt anyone, then please do forgive me. I apologize from the bottom of my heart. It was not my intention to offend anyone. It was not my intention to hurt anyone. Only I see those issues within myself, and I'm sure there are many around me that also find those issues within their lives. And so we hope together to work those issues out of our lives and progress towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Please recite salawat. The second thing that we've done on every one of these nights is try and highlight one of the virtues of Sayyidah Fatima. Try and give us an insight into this charismatic being, this manifestation of the tajalli of Allah, this manifestation of the jamal of Allah. We've been assessing different stories from her birth, prior to her birth when she was in the state of Nur, until her birth, then after her birth, her marriage with Amir al-Mu'mineen. After all of these fada'il, after all of these hadiths, after all of these virtues, after all of this contemplation on this great lady, it comes to this hadith. And this hadith I have left for this night. The hadith is from our sixth Imam, Imam Sadiq concerning the personality of his grandmother. He says, "Man arafa Fatima haqqa ma'rifataha faqad adraka laylatul qadr." He says, the one that has understood Fatima to Zahra as she must be understood, as is her right to be understood, فَقَدْ أَدْرَكَ لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. It is as if he has found the night of Qadr itself. Laylatul Qadr. خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَلْفِ الشَّهْرِ. Greater than 1,000 months. And then the Mufassirin say, it is even greater than that. That is just a figure of speech in order to help mankind understand the greatness of Laylatul Qadr. Imam is saying, the person who understands Sayyidah Fatima like she should be understood, it is as if he has discovered the night of Qadr itself. It is as if he has understood the night of Qadr itself. But he doesn't stop there. The hadith continues, وَإِنَّمَا سُمِّيَتْ فَاطِمَةٌ لِأَنَّ الْخَلْقَ فَطَمَاوَى عَنْ مَعْرِفَتِهَا. Then she has been named Fatima for this reason, that mankind will be deprived of truly understanding her. This is that personality. That however much you ponder over her, however much you delve into her life, however much you try and understand her, you will never be able to reach the depth of the understanding of Sayyidah Fatima. This is her station, this is her maqam. And we need to take lessons from this lady. And some of her greatest lessons come in the khutbah. And over the last few nights, we have discussed the first philosophy or the first ibadah she talks about, the one of Iman. She says, Iman has been given to you in order to take you away from shirk, to take you away from polytheism. You have been given faith in order to take you away from polytheism. And we looked into that in depth in the first or the third night, and we assessed the different levels of Iman, the different levels of shirk. And we realized that in fact, we haven't, in some cases, entered into the realm of Iman. At the moment, we're still struggling on the borders of Islam itself. Then when we accept this Islam Asghar, we'll enter into Iman Asghar. But then after that, there's Islam Akbar. And after submitting at the level of Islam Akbar, then I enter into Iman Akbar, then Islam A'zam, then Iman A'zam, then Hijrat Sughra, Hijrat Uzama, Hijrat Kubra and Hijrat Uzama. The three migrations towards Allah, the lesser migration, the greater migration, and the greatest migration. And then we enter the realms of jihad. Jihad Asghar, Jihad Akbar and Jihad A'zam. And then the final realm is the one of Ikhlas. And we studied that from Risalat al-Huquq, where the Imam says that the one that worships Allah with Ikhlas, I will give to him, Allah says that I will give to him sufficiency in this world and the Akhirah, and whatever he wants from both of the worlds, I will present it to him. And then we went on to the second part. Namaz is a purification from pride. We discussed this yesterday. What sort of namaz What level of salah should I be at? And that again, the answer was given to us from Risalatul Huquq. Risalatul Huquq tells us that you need to understand the right of namaz is this, that when you make that niyyah, you do that takbir, you come to the threshold of Allah. Now you are standing in front of Him, and your very wujud must submit to Him. Your body must not move. Your limbs, everything must submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is that salah that will take you away, that will purify you from the disease of kibr, from the disease of pride. What pride? And we discussed the varying levels of pride yesterday in detail, and how we can so easily become subject to it. And there are so many more that Bibi goes through, so many more that you can all pick out and have a look at. Those volumes and volumes have been written on this khutbah alone. My 5 nights have not done it justice. People have spent most of their lives analyzing these points as to what she is saying. So today, I've selected another part of it, which is pertinent to the youth of today as well, and sometimes it serves as a good reminder for those of our elders as well. Towards the end of the philosophy of ibadat, Bibi says, وَبِرَّ الْوَالِدَيْنَ وِقَايَةً مِنَ السَّخَطِ, and kindness towards the parents will safeguard you from the wrath of Allah. Seems pretty straightforward. As with all of the things that Bibi says, but there's always a more deeper side to it with the Ahlul Bayt. However much you ponder over it, that's how many doors will open for you in the understanding of these words. She says, kindness to the parents will save you from the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we all know, Jahannam. The adhab of the qabr. That day of Qiyamah, which we discussed yesterday from Dua Abu Hamda Thimali, when I will be taken out from my grave naked, carrying the burdens on my back, looking to my left and looking to my right, and seeing that the whole of creation cares of no one but themselves. There is no one that will come to my aid. That is the day when a father will run from his son. A mother will run from her daughter. That day where we all have to go. That azab, the lower level of it, before even entering Jahannam, is the qabr. Ayatollah Dastaghaib Shirazi in his book Ma'ad says that if one of the scorpions of the grave, in the lower level of azab, the grave, then barzakh, then Jahannam. So if we are unfortunate enough to get azab, the lowest level of it is in the qabr. If one of the scorpions of the grave was to come out and sting the sea, every one of the seas of the earth would begin to boil. The lowest level of azab. The lowest level. So how do we save ourselves from that wrath of God? Kindness to the parents. And sometimes we forget, as we grow more youthful, as we grow more older, we tend to forget what our parents did for us. And especially our mothers. What level our mothers are at, we tend to forget. And Imam al-Sajjad reminds us in Risalat al-Huquq. If we refer back to Risalat al-Huquq, Imam reminds us about the rights of the mother over us. Imam says, فَحَقُّ أُمَّكِ, the right of your mother, فَأَن تَعْلَمْ أَنَّهَا هَمَلَتْكَ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْمِلُ أَحَدًا أَحَدًا, that she carried you in that place where no one carries anyone. وَأَطْعَمَتْكَ مِنْ ثَمَرَةٍ قَلْبِهَا لَا يُطْعِمُ أَحَدًا أَحَدًا, and that she fed you with the fruit of her heart, a food that no one feeds anyone. وَقَدْكَ بِصَمْعِهَا وَبَصَرِهَا وَيَدِهَا وَرِجْلِهَا وَشِعْرِهَا وَبَشَرِهَا وَجَمِيعِ جَوَارِحِهَا مُسْتَبْشِرَةً بِذَلِكَ. And you should know that she protected you with her hearing, with her sight, with her hands, with her legs, with her skin, her hair, and every single one of her organs. And what was her state at that time when she was giving you that food, which no one gives anyone, when she was keeping you in that place when no one keeps anyone, when she was protecting you from all of those things, using her body to protect you. What was her state? Mustabshiratan bidhalik. She was happy to do so. Imam says she was happy, she was eager, she bore the pains of pregnancy, she bore the pains of labor until the Almighty's hand intervened. وَأَخْرَجَتَكَ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ, and you were expelled upon the earth. Now, her mercy increases. Now the second side of what she did for you, and تَشْبَعَ وَتَجُوعُ هِيَ, she did not care if she was hungry as long as you ate. وَتَكْسُوكَ وَتَعْرَى, she did not care if she was naked as long as you had clothing. وَتَرْوِيكَ وَتَذْمَى, she did not care if she was thirsty as long as you drank. وَتُظِلُّكَ وَتَضْحَى, she didn't care if she was in the sun as long as you were in the shade. وَتُنْعَمُّكَ بِبُؤْسِهَا, she did not care if she was miserable as long as you were happy. وَتُلَزَّزُكَ بِالنَّوْمِ آرَاقِهَا, and she did not care if she was deprived of sleep as long as you were resting. And then Imam summarizes this great lady. He says, وَكَانَ بَطْنُهَا لَكَ وِعَاءً وَحِجْرُهَا لَكَ حِوَاءً وَصَدْيُهَا لَكَ سِقَاءً وَنَفْسُهَا لَكَ وِقَاءً تُبَاشِرُ حَرَّ الدُّنْيَا وَبَرْدِهَا لَكَ دُونَكَ. Her abdomen was your abode, her lap was your seat, her bosom was your supply of drink, her soul was your fort. تُبَاشِرُ حَرَّ الدُّنْيَا وَبَرْدِهَا لَكَ دُونَكَ, and she protected you from the heat and the cold of this dunya. So then, what is her right? After doing all of that, Imam says, فَتَشْكُرُهَا عَلَى قَدْرِ ذَلِكَ وَلَا تَقْدِرُ عَلَيَّ إِلَّا عَلَيْهِ إِلَّا بِعَوْنِ اللَّهِ وَتَوْفِيقِهِ. So then you should thank her equivalent to that which she did for you, but you will not be able to. So ask Allah to give you strength and help you in this time and give you the tawfiq in order to thank her for what she did for you. وبر الوالدين وقاية من السخط. Obedience, kindness to the parents will save you from the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And very often it happens that we become aqi walidain without even knowing it. In Gunahan Kabira, Alama Dastaghaib Shirazi narrates from Alama Baqir al-Majlisi in his commentary of Al-Kafi. He says that this aqi walidain, being disowned by the parents, being at that level of does not mean that your parents physically have to disown you. No, it's in fact every time you look at your parents in an angry way, if you look at them in a disrespectful way, then you have become If you disobey them in anything that is not against Islam, you have become And the aqi walidain, they say he will never smell the scent of Jannah. That travels however many thousand years. His du'as are not accepted. He will never be given the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are those within this dunya that become aqi walidain. But when their parents leave this world, their parents will remove that and re-own the children, will forgive the children. And there are those people whose parents leave this world and they are happy with them. But when they enter into the grave, they their children, they disown their children, and that child becomes eternally damned. How? In the first scenario, the child that was made aqi walidain, after the death of the parents, regardless of what the parents had done, he remembered the parents when they were in the grave. He would recite Surah Yasin. He would recite Surah Fatiha. He would do good acts on their behalf. He would give charity on their behalf. Thus they re-owned him and they took him back as their son from the grave. But the ones that left this world happy with their children will arc their children from the grave if their children forget to send them things after they have passed away. Those du'as, those good acts. Regardless of whether your parents are from the Ahl Sunnah. We have hadiths where people came to the Imams to say, yes, but my parents are Sunni. Should I say, treat them exactly as you would treat them if they were Shia, if they are non-Muslim. Treat them exactly the same. Be kind to them. This is what stops a person from becoming aqi walidain. These are those things that Bibi has taught us in this khutbah. And again, I would urge you to go and read this khutbah in depth. Go and see what she is telling us. Try and implement it within your life, because this khutbah is one of those stages towards spiritual progression. You know, we have this whole fad. Everybody wants to know about Ibn Arabi and Mullah Sadra and Ibn Sina and I don't know what else. They want to read Fusus al-Hikam and Asfar of Mullah Sadra. But yet these khutbat that we have of Ali Muhammad, these du'as that we have from Ali Muhammad, they, if you could understand them, there'd be no need for us to run around. The problem is we've turned these du'as into cultural things. We've turned them into the 15-minute du'a kumail every Thursday. We've got to get it over and done with, nice and quick. And thus we're not able to understand Jawshan Kabir. We read as fast as possible. We're not able to understand these du'as. We're not able to understand unlock their secrets. That spiritual progression towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like I said in the first or second lecture, in Islam there is no concept of freedom. You're not free. Not in the conventional sense of do what you want when you want. No, the Prophet of God came to make us abd of Allah, slaves of Allah. You are there to reach the level of ubudiyyah, to reach that level of servitude, so that Allah says, yes, you are my abd, you are my slave. And it is through this ubudiyyah we gain that liberation. The liberation of thought, the liberation of our souls, of our spiritual side. It is through ubudiyyah. It's not through being totally free and being able to do whatever we want. In that third lecture, we spoke about the introduction to Risalat al-Huquq, where Imam is saying that Allah has rights over you. في كل حركة حركتها أو سكنة سكنتها أو منزلة نزلتها. That Allah has made rights upon you, incumbent upon every movement you make, upon every rest you take, upon every place within which you rest. Every limb you move and every instrument you use has a right over you. There's a total encompassing nature. Our lives, recite salawat. Our lives are encompassed by those rights. Our lives are encompassed by the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we, as the Shias of Ali Muhammad, when the Prophet is telling that man who is our Imam, the one who we are so happy to say, yes, I'm the Shia of Ali. I wear the big Zulfiqar around my neck. I have the big Zulfiqar hanging in my wing mirror. When that Imam is told by the Prophet of God as a piece of advice, alayka bis salatil layl, alayka bis salatil layl, alayka bis salatil layl, that Ali, I advise you to observe the night prayer. And he says it to him 3 times. And I, as the Shia of Ali Muhammad, am struggling to pray my salah. Forget salat al-layl. I'm still struggling to pray that namaz. I, as the Shia of Ali Muhammad, am listening to songs. I'm listening to music as if it's not a problem for me. I, as the Shia of Ali Muhammad, both male and female, not observing my hijab, but yet I am the Shia of Ali Muhammad. It doesn't work like that. The Holy Prophet of Islam goes to Mi'raj. There are a number of things that he sees on this journey. I'll highlight a few here. The first one, Prophet's going along with Jibreel and he sees someone being pinned down, a man being pinned down and a huge rock being dropped upon his head. It says such that the man's skull fractured and his brain began to leak from his head. The Prophet of God turns to Jibreel, Jibreel, who is this man? The Prophet, Jibreel turns around and says, oh Prophet of Allah, he is from your ummah. He is from your ummah. Jibreel, what was his crime? This is the man that did not give importance to salah. He didn't pray. This is different. The one that leaves salah has a different. This is the one that didn't give importance to it. So he would miss one day, or he would miss one salah. Doesn't matter, I'll make it up later. I delay it, he'd delay it, pray it right at the last minute. Maybe not pray, maybe he would pray a Zohar, miss an Asr. This is that man. This Prophet's going forward. Again, they see another man being held down by the angels on his side. And molten metal is being poured into his ears. He's screaming, he's trying to get away, but the angels are holding him down. The Prophet of God turns around and says, Jibreel, this man, Ya Rasulullah, he too is from your ummah. What was his crime? This is the man that in the dunya would listen to the singing voice. We're the Shias of Ali Muhammad. We're the lovers of Ali. So when we have the hadith from Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, من طرب قلبه على حرف من آلات الغناء, the one whose heart shakes to the single note of a musical instrument or to the singing voice, فَكَأَنَّمَا لَطَمَ عَلِيًّا عَلَى وَجْهِهِ, it is as if he has slapped me, Ali, in the face. I am the Shia of Ali Muhammad. The Prophet of God continues his journey. He sees that there are men and women locked in cages of fire and they're being burnt. Again he asks, Jibreel, who are they? They too are from your ummah. What was their crime? These are the women that would not observe hijab. They gave no importance to hijab. They encapsulated in these cages of fire and they are burning from head to toe. But the hadith says men and women. The Sahaba who were hearing this asked the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, you said, but there were men and women. What about the men? They don't have to observe hijab. The Prophet of God says, these are the men who were the husbands of those women that left the house without hijab and they were happy about it. We're the Shias of Ali Muhammad. We need to prepare for the coming of the Imam. We need to prepare for the coming of the Imam. We recited Dua Ahad. إِنَّهُمْ يَرَوْنَ بَعِيدًا وَنَرَايَ قَرِيبًا. For those outside, it's far away. But for us, we know it's near. But it's the opposite. We ourselves think it's a bit later, it's later, it's okay, we've still got some time. The Imam will come, It's okay. No, there needs to be this preparation. And I say this everywhere I go. The preparation has to be threefold. It has to be physical. It has to be a spiritual preparation. And it has to be mental. That spiritual preparation, that salat regularly, that salatul layl regularly. And one of them, again, we gain from Sayyidah Fatima. That tasbih of Hazrat Zahra. I said in my first lecture that I'd give more of an understanding how this tasbih encapsulates Tawheed itself. When you recite that tasbih, Allahu Akbar, the first thing that you recite, in there you're crying out to the uniqueness of Allah. You're saying that He has no partner, no comparison. He is the greatest. He is greatness. Then you say Alhamdulillah. And you remember each of those bounties that He has bestowed upon you. And you thank Him for those bounties. And know there is no one that can bestow bounties upon you except for Him. And then you say Subhanallah. You glorify Him. You know that there is no one that can be glorified but Him. He that is free from all need. And we that need Him at every aspect. Tawheed encapsulated. The spiritual progression, preparing for the Imam spiritually, preparing for the Imam physically, something we always overlook. The Imam requires soldiers. The Imam requires people who are fit, young and healthy, able to defend. Not doner kebab, cheeseburger eating, can't run up a flight of stairs. Imam requires soldiers. And then mental preparation. In the fields of academia, we need to go forward. In the fields of the Islamic sciences, in the field of the non-Islamic sciences, we need to be at the top of all of these fields so that people look towards us and say, yes, this is truly a Shia of Ali Muhammad. The time is near and we need to prepare ourselves. Prepare ourselves for the coming of the one that will bring justice and peace upon the earth. And the one that will come and show us where the grave of his grandmother Fatima Zahra is. On the day of Qiyamah, they say, as she, Salamullah alayha, is about to enter into heaven, she will stop. And Allah will say, why are you not entering? And she will turn around and say, Ya Rab, أريد أن يعرف قدري في هذا اليوم. That's my Lord, I wish for you to tell these people what my status was on this day. Why is Fatima to Zahra having to say this on the day of Qiyamah? Why is she saying this? Why? It is because this ummah oppressed her after her father left this world. It is because this ummah crushed her between the wall and the door after her father had gone. The nail of the door pierces the chest of Fatima to Zahra. It breaks her rib. She falls to the ground. But there are other narrations that say that as she lay on the ground, the slave of the second one comes, comfort, and begins to beat her over her body as she lay upon the ground. This is what Fatima is saying to Allah, that, oh Allah, show them what my status was, and look how they oppressed me. When Fatima has left this world and Medina no longer has Fatima, Salman narrates, he says, I'm sitting at home, it is the middle of the night, someone knocks at my door. Says, I open and find the two children of Fatima to Zahra, Imam al-Hasan and Imam al-Hussein, standing at my door. They standing at my door weeping, saying, Salman, my father Ali said that if you wish to take part in the funeral of my mother, then come quickly. Salman says, I run behind Imam al-Hasan and Imam al-Hussein to the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen. As we enter inside, Imam Ali is in the middle of doing the ghusl of Sayyidah Fatima in a side room, but he has requested everyone inside to cry quietly, so that the enemies of Fatima do not understand and do not know that her funeral is taking place. Salman narrates that the children of Fatima are biting their hands to stop themselves from crying out loud. Everyone else is sitting quietly, when all of a sudden the doors to where Ali is opened. Amir al-Mu'mineen comes out, places his head against the wall and begins to wail loudly. Salman says, I approach Amir al-Mu'mineen and say, Ya Ali, I was told that you asked us not to cry out loud. Ya Ali, now why are you crying out loud? Imam says, oh Salman, today I have seen the effect of that nail on the body of Zahra. Oh Salman, today I have seen the broken rib of Zahra. Salman, today I have seen where she was beaten. Oh Salman, today Ali has seen those wounds that Fatima was hiding from him. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Oh Allah, forgive the sins of our parents. Oh Allah, those of our parents that have left this world, give them a place next to Ali Muhammad in Jannah. Oh Allah, those who are ill, give them shifa'ah. Oh Allah, those who are in debt, clear their debts. Oh Allah, those who are in education, make them successful. Oh Allah, keep our ulama and our maraji at the head of our institutions. Keep them safe and give them long lives. Oh Allah, keep safe the Shias of Ali Muhammad around the world, especially the Shias of Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time. Allow us to be amongst his true awaiters for the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as that the brothers and sisters have brought to the majlis. Please recite 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
محمد وآله